Would you like to get your book out of your head and into the world? I'm Diane Windingland with Virtual Speech Coach, and today I'm going to show you how I got my book out of my head and into the world and have since self-published more than 10 additional books to help you take your book from idea to Amazon. 8 steps to self-publishing. A little bit about my story. On July 31st, 2010, I had a free coaching session with a well-known professional speaker who told me that a book would be my best business card ever. And he asked me, could you write a short book in a month? I thought, well, I do have a lot of blog content. I probably could. So before I thought too much more, I said yes. And then I realized, wait a second, I was working 2 part-time jobs and homeschooling 3 children. What was I thinking? But in the next month, I found time in the early morning hours to actually create a rough draft of a book using some content I had created previously and then coming up with some new content as well. The day after Labor Day, I Googled how to self-publish because I hadn't a clue. I'd not read a book on self-publishing. I'd not taken a class. So I just believed that I could. And well, what I didn't know, I didn't know. And I just took it a step at a time. So several books later, in the last 10 years, I've self-published more than 10 additional books. My bestseller is actually Speech Class for Teens, which I hadn't even written really to sell to others. It was just a cheap way to get books for my own class that I was teaching. So let me give you a brief 8-step overview to how you can go from idea to Amazon. Step 1. Create a book business plan. This is essentially, why do you want to write a book? What do you want to write a book about? Who is your target audience? When are you going to put the work in? And how are you going to accomplish it? That's a lot. So take into account these other steps as well. Then you need to write the book. Well, that is probably the hardest step, but let me back up a little bit on the book business plan. Right before you start writing a book, you should research the competition. Go to Amazon, look at other books similar to your book, look at their table of contents, look at the reviews, what resonates with people and what doesn't, and then start writing the book. Now you're going to have a writing schedule, a writing plan. Just get it done. Talk more about that in just a moment. Step number 3, assemble a launch team and revise your book. Get a few friends together. If you have a list, send out a request to your list for people who want to provide some feedback and perhaps help you promote the book. Take the feedback, revise your book, and then step 4, edit and proofread. I highly suggest that you pay for at least one of these steps, especially the proofreading step, so that there's no really glaring mistakes when the book gets published. Then you'll want to prepare for publishing. Choose your platform. I suggest Amazon, Kindle Direct Publishing. Then decide on a price, look at what other books are priced at, potentially get your own ISBN numbers or take the ones from Amazon. You might want to do a little research on why you'd pick one over the others. And then step 6, make it attractive, especially the cover. The cover is critical because people do judge a book by its cover. You might want to hire out the book cover design. I've used Fiverr for a few of these activities and have gotten things done very inexpensively. Then you'll want to actually publish the book. You have your PDF formatted for the interior and your cover, and you upload it, you fill out the description, and just Amazon will kind of, Kindle Direct Publishing will take you through that process. Get it published. And hopefully all along you've been thinking about how you're going to promote your book, and you will deploy your promotional plan. Your book will not promote itself typically. If you'd like to see a detailed example of this entire process, I wrote a blog about it on my latest book from a couple of years ago now almost. You can go to bit.ly book plan example, or just raise your phone, the photo camera, to the QR code and it will take you right there. Very briefly, I wanted to address the biggest stumbling block, which is writing the book. A few things you can do to increase the likelihood that you'll get that book written. First, tell others, tell everyone you know that you're writing a book and you plan on getting it done by, give a date, and let people know how you're doing, because it's really hard to not produce something when you said you're going to. Schedule time, if not daily, at least weekly. And I would say, don't be too optimistic about the time you're going to have. If you think you're going to have 3 hours a day, why don't you make that 1 hour a day, or set a certain amount of time during the week as a minimum amount of time you will work on writing your book. Eliminate distractions as much as possible. This is not the time to take on additional volunteer efforts. And if you can cut them down, this is a good idea. You might want to try some visual planning and visualization of your progress. An example of that is, for my last book, I actually put huge Post-it notes on my wall with sections, and then little Post-it notes in different colors for different kinds of ideas within those sections. And that really helped me see that I was making progress and I had ideas for writing my book. Take these ideas and take your book from idea to Amazon.